Hi everyone, it's Steve Quinn, and thanks for joining me again for the next in our series of Coach Basics. And what I want to focus on today is about listening. You may remember that we said that listening is one of the foundation skills for being an effective coach, and I believe that to be utterly true. So today's about listening. I'm going to take a few minutes to talk about what listening is and most importantly how you can get better at it. So that's what's in store for you today. So why is listening important in coaching? I think there are a number of reasons. Firstly, we're trying to encourage people to open up and talk about their concerns, their issues, and listening helps that. We're also trying to build a relationship with them so that we can work together effectively, and we know that listening's a strong relationship builder. We also want to work with their agenda, and to access that, we need to listen to them. We're also trying to encourage self-sufficiency, and being listened to helps with that enormously. And of course, being listened to is affirming and builds confidence and self-worth, and those are important parts of the coaching relationship as well. I think there's a number of aspects to this. Firstly, we're not born as listeners. We need to learn those skills, and in our society, that's not something that appears to be valued highly. We also live in a noisy world with competing demands for our attention, and yet we love being listened to, and yet it's a rare experience for us all. We also bring our own set of filters to our listening based on our experiences, our beliefs, our learning, the things we value, and these all seem to conspire to limit our ability to listen, particularly to those who don't match us in some significant way. And everything moves so fast nowadays, doesn't it? We seem to prefer sound bites to long explanations for anything, and as a result we've become desensitized, and our interactions and our relationships probably suffer as a consequence. So what can we do to become better listeners as we coach? Well, to improve as listeners, we need to move beyond normal listening to something that's much more active and conscious. And there's a number of things that can help us to do that. At the simplest level, we can just speak less. That works. We can also ask our questions and then just zip it, shut up, allowing people to think. We can also let people know that we're listening through eye contact or nodding or umming or whatever, those little kind of phatics that we use to let people know that we're with them and we're listening. We can also ask further questions based on what they've already said. Go a little deeper perhaps, or elicit more information. You could also summarise your understanding of what's been covered so far, and that's a very effective way of letting people know that you've been listening. But it also has a secondary effect, which is that it can help people to get clearer about the kind of structure of their thinking. So it's helpful in two respects. I think also before we start coaching, we can take a little time to still our own internal chatter, not to go into a coaching conversation with three problems of our own that we're trying to solve, but kind of parking them so that we can just be present for the individual that we're working with. And as we become more self-aware, we begin to interrupt our own need to contribute. So that's something we can continually work on. Remember, coaching's not about you. It's about the needs of the colleague or family member or friend that you're coaching. And being present for them is a great gift and allows for deeper connections and much more effective coaching. So that's key for us. And the final thing to mention is that silence too is a powerful listening tool. So being comfortable with silence, allowing people to think, giving them space to work out their own solutions, to reflect on the question that you've just asked them or an awareness that is just dawning for them. Silence is a powerful tool for assisting that process and is a key part of our listening toolkit. So, in summary then, what are we saying about listening? Well, it's something we should do consciously. It's an active process. And there are some things that we can do to improve in this area, such as asking questions to improve your listening. So you ask your question and you be quiet. You zip it, as I say. Remember to use silence. Silence is a powerful listening tool. It creates a gap, it creates thinking space, and it's an important part of coaching well. Remember not to interrupt. Listening isn't about waiting to speak. Listening is about attending to the other person to better understand what they're saying and perhaps what they're not saying. Listening is also an incredible relationship builder in every area of your life. And of course, the opposite is true. Can you remember an occasion when someone wasn't listening to you? Did you know that? I bet you did. And how did that feel? Not so good. And I guess there would be some consequences of that. So listening, a really powerful tool, but its opposite, not listening, is equally powerful, but in a negative way. This is one of the self-awareness skills that you need to practice. Because we're not so good at listening generally in our society. This is a skill area that we do need to practice. So I've got two things I'd like you to try in the next couple of days. Firstly, I'd like you to just notice how well you're listening in conversations. Here's a clue. When you're listening, you're mostly quiet. So that's the first thing. Just notice how well you're listening. And secondly, I'd like you to try some conversations where you just park up your judgment, your frame of reference, your mental models, your way of normally seeing things, and just concentrate on what the other person is saying and describing for you, and just notice how different that is. So that's two areas for you to practice on. I'd also like to encourage you to get some more coaching practice in general, but if you're doing that, these would be a couple of exercises that you could try, and I think you'll see the benefits. So get some more practice. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.